Okay, we call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation following. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them the wisdom to know and the courage to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
Amen. Roll call, please.
Goodar.
Here.
Green.
Here.
LaFour.
Here.
Mistrovich. Ricks.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Yar.
Here.
Motion to excuse Michael Mistrovich from tonight's meeting due to other commitments would be in order.
So moved.
Support.
Thank you, Jamie. Motion's been made and supported.
You do second
Any
support?
discussion?
Left out.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. Approval of minutes for the regular meeting of March. We don't have a date.
Third.
Is it third?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's over here, okay. For March 3rd.
So moved.
Thank you. Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion passes. We move on to audience comments on any non-agenda items. If anybody would like to address the city council, now would be the time. On any non-agenda items, we simply ask that you come up to the podium, state your name and address to the clerk for the record. We will move on. Adoption of agenda. Mr. City Manager, any changes?
No changes.
City Council, any changes?
No.
Being not, motion to accept the agenda as presented would be in order.
So moved.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. There is no discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. We move on to items for consideration, which we have 7 tonight. The first one being consideration of second reading and adoption of ordinance number 156-14, text amendments. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to give second reading and adopt ordinance 156-14, which will change 3 sections of the zoning ordinance. Article 6 of design standards, Article 23 for the Planning Commission, and Article 24 of the Board of Zoning Appeals. As we discussed at the introduction and first reading, the first 2 sections are mainly just some housekeeping with our ordinance. The third section, the Board of Zoning Appeals, as well as making it refer to the correct state statute, also lowers the amount of members of the BZA from 5 to 7. We gave introduction and first reading last council meeting, and it's up for the adoption tonight.
And has there been any comment from the public on this?
No comment from the public.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion?
I move to give second reading and adopt ordinance 156-14, which amends Article 6, design standards for specific uses, Article 23, Planning Commission, Article 24, Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Richmond zoning ordinance to change the order of uses, references the applicable state enabling laws, and to reduce the number of Board of Zoning Appeals members from 7 to 5.
Support. It's been made and supported. Is there any discussion on this? This will go into effect after this reading. Any public comment on this item? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. Item number 2 is consideration of special event request for the BB Park wedding. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to consider a request to use the gazebo and pavilion for a wedding in BB Park over the 4th of July weekend on Sunday of that weekend. The Recreation Department received a request from a resident who initially had indicated they wanted to use the gazebo and then just an area of the park for a larger tent. Both the city manager and the library and recreation director, Julianne Kammer, met with the applicants after the recreation board met and had several concerns, just because we normally don't rent out a large area of the park for private use. So we met with them, talked to them a little bit about their plans, kind of had an aerial map that they were able to look at and see where are the bathrooms located. They've revised their number of guests from about 300 down to 150. And so they're now looking at renting the gazebo and the pavilion that weekend, and then having a smaller tent next to the pavilion. The size of the wedding is now, that it's been kind of downsized a little bit, about the same as some of our larger family reunions that are there. And the use of electricity, that sort of thing, would be more in line with a family reunion. Having gone through all that and worked with the applicant, administration believes that we should approve this. Like I said, they're running both. That is a light weekend in the park. Normally, a lot of people are out on vacation, so it's not heavily used.
Very good. Is there a motion before discussion?
I'll make the motion to approve the special event request submitted by Amber Tittle for a 20 by 30 tent next to the pavilion and use of a DJ for the reception on Sunday, July 6, 2014, from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. in conjunction with her rental of the gazebo and the pavilion.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Discussion? This was hashed over quite a bit at the Parks and Rec meeting. There were definitely some concerns, being it's the first time that big of a group would be coming in to use our park. There were a lot of issues, bathrooms and electricity usage and the size of the tent that they originally were going to bring in and whatnot. And I think that was all hashed over very, very well at the park. There was some concerns. Did the discussion lead to we need to have some kind of a written policy?
We'll probably be looking at that as
Yeah.
far as, in general, the approvals that we've done for special events have been for events for either nonprofits or churches that their event is open to the public. Whether you're a member of the church or not, you're welcome to attend their service and is encouraged. This is the first time where they wanted to be using a section of the park and then not have public welcome, so to speak. Not that they wouldn't, you know what I mean? It's
The 300 scared us. The 150 is manageable.
and so, yeah. But having said that, we don't have like a fee schedule for that. We only have the fee schedule for the individual elements of the park, and so we don't have a policy on this, so it is something we need to look at.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
I mean, I'm comfortable, I appreciate that the issue was hashed over, and then that this brings up something we need to talk about further in the future. I didn't see here, are you doing the wedding?
No, I'm not. No. I believe probably Pastor Wise. Yeah. I think that was part of the deal here. Yeah.
I mean, you rent the park, we should throw in a mayor.
Yeah, no.
Under the bus?
I'm going to be camping that weekend up north someplace. I'm going to Habel's Cottage, I think, that weekend. Up in Lewiston. No, and the park normally is very, very slow on the 4th of July weekend. People are out and about at home or whatever, celebrating. They're not normally out in the park, I think is another consideration that was given to this. Anything else? Any audience comments on this item? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. Item number 3 is consideration of purchase of mosquito control briquettes. Mr. City Manager.
Last year, the city council approved the purchase of mosquito briquettes that were placed in the catch basins by the Department of Public Works. That was the first year since about 2008 that we had done that program, and this year, Paul is recommending that we continue with that.
Very good. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to authorize the expense of $4,774 to Clark Mosquito Control for the purchase of chemical briquettes for mosquito control with the expense of $3,341.80 charged to the appropriate item mosquito control, Public Works, General Fund, and the expense of $1,432.20 charged to the appropriate line item operating supplies, Public Works, TIFA Fund.
Support.
It's been made and supported. Comment, discussion?
I actually noticed a difference last year, so, I'm a big difference, at least in my neighborhood. So I appreciate these, that the city takes this into consideration. It lowers possible disease and lots of things that can come from mosquitoes. So,
It's gonna be a little wet this year, too.
yes.
Is there any word on how bad it might be this year? Anybody?
No. With our new website, I know we talked about when we reinstituted this program last year of putting stuff on the web. Well, it's much easier this year to do that. I have some information from the health department on ways to limit mosquito breeding grounds in your backyard, tires, that sort of stuff. And so we'll put that on the website, and it'll be pushed out to those people looking, that have signed up for the notices.
Do you recall why the county quit supplying those? Was it budgetary?
Budgetary, I
Was it?
believe, yep.
Okay. Anything else on this? Any comments from the public? Back to the table? All in favor of the motions, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Item number 4 is consideration of temporary park employee committee update. Mr. City Manager?
City Council is scheduled to consider authorizing the hiring of a temporary park employee to help with the Recreation Department in the Community Center. The Library and Recreation Director Review Committee, as well as the Recreation Board, are recommending this hire to assist in the office staff over there. The summer is the department's busiest time of year. Hiring this temporary person for 24 hours a week would kind of allow them to kind of do some of the day-to-day operations, answering phones, questions, that sort of stuff, and free up the director and also Margot to kind of handle some of the things that have been slipping through the cracks. This is kind of one of the short-term solutions that the committee has come up with. We are looking at some longer-term solutions, including possibly contracting out some recreational services. I know Julianne and Kelly have a meeting tomorrow that's scheduled. We've already had one meeting with her trying to get a better number on, what those contracting costs may be. And so, but this is something that we can do kind of short-term for roughly, I think, $3,200, and be able to get some help over there. I did provide the council with kind of an update on the status of the committee work. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to get a hold of me. We're kind of at a transitional period with that committee now. The council members, administration will probably be working a little bit more with the recreation members to kind of look at this contracting issue. The committee has also developed kind of a list of things where the library board and rec board will be working a little closer together, kind of like with council and some of our other boards like planning commission, they get the council minutes. Well, now the library board will get the rec minutes, rec will get the library board minutes, and then in September they'll have one joint meeting annually. So there are a number of longer-term solutions too, but presently we're asking for this as a short-term solution.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move to approve funding for a part-time position in the Recreation Department for a period of 3 months in the summer, from mid-May to mid-August, in the amount of $3,200.
Support. It's been made and supported. Is there any discussion?
Mayor?
Go right ahead.
I appreciate the council members that are on the committee and the work of the committee to work on this issue, and appreciate the update. It seems like we're working through the concerns, so that although this is a short-term fix to get us through this year, it seems like we're on a path to getting resolving this. And I want to say I appreciate Julianne for all her work on this. I know when we formed, having her run 2 departments, that there was going to be an improved synergy between the departments and make it more efficient, which I think long-term we're going to have a much better program that way and much more efficient. But and she shouldered a lot of burden in this time. It's a challenging time. I just want to say thank you. I know that you've taken on a lot on your shoulders. So.
Very good. Anybody else? Comments from the audience? Back to the table. Anything from council? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. Item number 5 is consideration of accepting the resignation from the Personnel Board. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to consider accepting the resignation of Gary Packard from the Personnel Board. You received the resignation previously.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Gary Packard from the Personnel Board.
Support.
It's been made and supported. Any discussion? Any public comment? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Item number 6 is consideration of scheduled budget workshops for review of the 14-15 city budget. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to, or being requested to schedule approximately 3 to 4 budget workshops. As we've done in the past, I've sent out calendar pages for April and May. Unfortunately, when we got those back, there was one date, Monday, May 12th, that was open to everyone. Since that time, there's been a couple emails going back and forth, and I believe Mike Mastrovich has indicated that he'd be able to make April 22nd, which I believe is a Tuesday.
Yes, it is.
And then work, also the mayor had emailed or talked to me and said he could make April 28th work.
If you want to put it out there.
You wanna throw it out there?
Go on.
And also Councilor Green had mentioned possibly the date of April 30th. That would be, she could kind of adjust her schedule to do that. The last 2 years, we've done 4 budget workshops. Previous to that, we'd do 3 and then schedule the 4th, but often canceled it. I think we could probably get through in 3, but that's up to council. But along with the May 12th, there is now April 22nd, April 28th, and April 30th available.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move to schedule the following budget workshop meeting dates to review and modify the same manner proposed fiscal year 2014-2015 city budget as necessary for Monday, May 12th, April 22nd, April 28th, and April 30th.
Is there support?
You gonna put time in?
We need
Pardon me?
times.
Are we gonna
times.
put a time in that motion? Because I noticed on yours it was 6:30 for
Yeah,
yours.
I couldn't possibly be back here until 6:30.
On what date?
I didn't know it was gonna vary, so I
At the
held
end.
off on the times.
28th? Is it
Yeah, 28th is 6:30.
Yeah.
And,
Mike said on his
6.
6 o'clock.
yep,
His was the 22nd?
yep.
Yeah, his was the 22nd. What was April 30th?
I'll just
Is
not.
that you?
Yeah, I won't go, so.
Okay, so-
Anytime.
Well, you want to stay consistent here on time?
Just
And
make
just
it
go
s-
6:30?
Yes.
6:30 for
It's a
all of
lot
them?
easier to remember
Yeah.
along with all of our other meetings. Okay, Jeff, you're good with that on your
Yeah.
motion, 6:30 PM?
Yeah, that finishes my motion.
Okay. And did we get a support on that? Jeff? No.
Support.
Support.
We're waiting for the times.
Yeah, okay. Any other discussion on that?
I guess just kind of a discussion or some direction from council. In the past, previous to last year, we would try to do all of the departments on those first 3 and kind of hold that 4th meeting in case we needed it.
Yeah.
Is council comfortable with us? You know, because Marilyn and I kind of plug in the different departments in those first, or the dates. Is that something council's comfortable with?
Yeah, we should be
Doing
good.
it that way we always
Yeah.
have the 12th as the fallback.
Yeah.
Should
Do we
need
use it the last 2 years? We used the 4th date, though?
No.
Last year, we used the 4th day.
We
did?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
we had
so.
4. We had 3 that had budget workshop, or departmental budgets,
Uh-huh.
and then that 4th one was just a general
Okay.
discussion. The year before that, I did the departments spread out over the 4,
Mm-hmm.
and we just had very short
Yeah.
budget meeting. We'd have an hour budget meeting, and then at the end of the fourth one, we didn't have a large discussion, so.
I did appreciate last year how we had that last day where we were able to change and go through some things and make some adjustments where we thought priorities should have been after we had a full picture of everything.
Like I said, I'll front load the first three with all the department, and then if you need the fourth, we can always go
Yeah.
there.
I had talked to John about some of the things that really don't need to come to us. They're fixed items. We really have very little say over them to begin with. They're in your packet, you know, or that could be supplied to us right off. And we could save a lot of time and not have to go through the dog and pony show, as far as I'm concerned, on some of those items, which could bring us down to the 3 meetings. The third being if there was a final department that had to present, and then the rest of the evening, we could work on if there's anything we need to tweak in the budget. Personally, I don't know that there's anything to tweak this year. You know, we are so wrapped up so tight on what we have. I don't see where there's, you know, other years we've had the ability to, or had to, you know, over the last 5 or 6 years, we've had to really get into that budget. And personally, I don't think there's going to be that much room to wiggle this year. So I was hoping we could do it in 3 meetings and forego some of those issues that are non-issues evidently. You know, they're just assessing. We have to have assessing. Unless somebody wants to talk about farming out the assessing, do we really need to, you know, have Lynn here and go through all of that? I don't think we do, because it's established, it has to be, unless somebody has come up with a better idea. So that's why I thought maybe we could get away with 3. I don't have a problem going to the 4th meeting. Whatever council's wishes are.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
Any of those that, I guess, it's an interesting concept, any of those that they were thinking that, you know, we may not have to meet on, I'd sort of like to have their packet before the first meeting. That way, if you said, you know, I really want to meet on them, they could be fit in, you know, later.
Sure.
So
Oh, yeah.
as long as those ones that we thought we'd skip over, we got on the first, that's fine with me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know some of this stuff you won't have ready, right? Right up front?
With these dates, I should be able to have,
Okay,
but like, each department's ready by, it's sometimes when we have that first meeting in April and we
Right.
schedule it right away after, you know, like, our first meeting in April is 7th, so I have to have you have the council, like, the general numbers.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've tried to have that first meeting, like, that week, like
Yeah.
Thursday of that week. That's very difficult for me. But with the first meeting being the 22nd, I should be okay.
Okay.
And what I think we can do is, I'll target some of those, like, the payment to Lennox Township, you know, that budget, it's not gonna change. Garbage, because we're not, you know, this isn't the end of our
Right.
year. I can do a list of some of those that we know aren't gonna change, and I'll highlight them on your budget list, saying,
Yeah.
unless council wants to discuss these aren't
right,
changing from previous years. I can do that.
yeah.
That way, and Jeff could, or any council member that sees that and says, no, I still want to talk about garbage even though it's not going to change.
Well, we can still talk about
Then,
it, certainly.
yeah.
If there's no need to talk about anything, then why are we sitting here going through all of that? It just confuses the whole issue sometimes.
Absolutely. I agree with you guys on streamlining it. I do have a question though. Do you plan on making a lot of cuts? You know, your final city manager cuts usually are more like, than what they ask for. Are
Looking at what they submitted, yeah, there will be cuts again this year.
okay? So we're still continuing to
Yeah.
cut. Okay. Because so I guess
I mean, most of them have submitted budgets that are in line, so I don't think they'll be substantial, not like last year where we got into personnel and hours and things like that.
Okay.
I don't believe there'll be that this year.
That intensive
Right, and
discussions that
that's-
he
okay.
had, I don't think we're gonna see that this year.
Okay.
That's what
I mean,
was
at least at
alluding
this
to.
point, we're just,
Well, I-
Marilyn and I are just starting to go through, we had meetings today and tomorrow and the next day, so I'll know a little bit more after that, but, I don't see a big change in like hours, that sort of stuff.
Okay. Because that's what I was moving to is, like, say the library or the recreation or something, if the boards, because that would also offer boards to come in and defend their budget if they wanted to at the time, and I don't want to take that away from them.
Mhm.
The only thing.
And I think
And that would
maybe
go
what-
along with, if you see something that he's cut, and it's on that list of things that maybe we weren't going to go through, just let him know, you want it
Okay.
on the agenda, and we will definitely talk about it.
Well, and I think maybe what you were looking at is if we take off the Lennox Township payment, the garbage payment, do you then have more time during each individual night to focus on
Yes.
the budgets that we normally talk about?
Okay, anything else? Anything from the audience on this? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. Item number 7 is consideration of establishing a city manager evaluation committee. Mr. City Manager?
The council is scheduled to consider establishing the ad hoc city manager review committee. The last committee was established on March 18th, 2013. The previous committee was made up of Councilors Goodar, Schultz, and Yark.
Thank you, sir. If council doesn't mind, we will forego the motion here and see who would like to serve on this committee before a motion is made.
I'll put my hat in the ring again.
Okay? Jeff?
Yeah.
Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to establish the ad hoc city manager review committee for the purposes of coordinating the annual performance evaluation of the city manager and reviewing the city manager's employment agreement and making recommendations to the city council on changes in the compensation package provided to the city manager, with the committee to expire on June 30th, 2014, with the following councilors appointed to serve on the committee: Councilor Schultz, Councilor Goodar, and Councilor Yark.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. There shouldn't be any discussion. Is there? We appreciate you guys doing it again. Is there any public comment on this item? Tom Habel, I won't make you get up. No. No. Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. City manager's comments, sir.
With that, I have nothing.
Okay, moving on to council comments. Jeff?
Nothing for me.
Dennis?
Oh, I'm good.
Jeff?
Almost set.
Jamie?
I'm all set.
Jim?
I'm good.
Wow. That's great. I have nothing to bring up at this time. We do have a new Miss Richmond, Leah Gonzalez, won that yesterday at Menaces Hall and did a beautiful job. And I can't remember the other two girls that are on her court. A Bendit girl is her last name. The other one is a Robertson girl that are on the court. All three of them did beautiful. There were 7 girls that tried out. An 8th came up with some real bad back problems in the morning, sadly. But she's a junior, so she can try again next year, I believe. And it was very, very tough on the judges to get to where they were, but they got 3 great kids. But everybody that tried out was so nice. The kids are, again, it just shows you the caliber of young adults we have in this town. It was really nice to see. So, congratulations to all of them to have the where-to even get up on stage, and do the contest. It takes a lot to do that, and they're all winners when it comes to that. Okay, we go on to closed session this evening.
You gonna do your calendar first?
We can, Jimmy. Today being the 17th. What do we have there? Historical Society has their tea on the 22nd. I believe that's at 2 o'clock, Christine? Tickets still for sale?
They are, I have them.
And they can get tickets at,
So Together,
Okay, so I know one number, you can call 727-3064 during the day and get tickets for the Historic Society's tea that will be held at Manasi's on the 22nd of March. We go on to Tifa will be meeting on the 26th at 7 o'clock right here at City Hall. That will take the city into April. The first day of yard waste collection. You can pick up those leaves and whatnot, and they will be picking those up on April 1st. City Council will be meeting on the 7th. Is there anything else that we have special here? We'll announce now that the Easter egg scramble will be held at BB Park at 10:30, and that is 10:30 sharp, is it not? You better be there at 10:30 or you're gonna miss it, because it's, boom. Parks and Recreation puts that on. That is on April 12th, a Saturday.
School's out that way.
And school is out that whole week. Watch out for the kids out and about. Hopefully we have warmer temperature where they can get out. And that takes care of the calendar. Is there anything else that we need to announce on the calendar? Okay, then we move on to closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make a motion to convene to closed session in accordance with Section 8D of the Michigan Open Meetings Act, Public Act 267 of 1976, as amended to consider the purchase or lease of real property.
Support.
Support?
Yeah.
Roll call?
Green,
Yes.
LaFour,
Yes.
Mistravich, Ricks,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Yard,
Yes.
Goodar,
Yes.
Motion passes. We'll go into closed session. Okay, we need a motion to reconvene.
I'll make a motion to reconvene into open session.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion on that? Being not, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Against? Motion passes. Do we have a,
I'd like to make a motion to recommend to Tifa that they consider the purchase of property.
is there support?
Support.
Discussion. Audience participation? Back to the table? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Is there any other business of the city council this evening? Being not, motion to adjourn be in order.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
There is no discussion. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Thank you.